Another name synonymous with the cigar industry, E.P. Carrillo has given cigar enthusiasts amazing cigars to ponder for decades. In this episode, I want to introduce you to 4 of my current favorites in his impressive catalog of stellar cigars. Ernesto Perez Carrillo is undoubtedly a legend in the cigar world, but his story starts in Cuba like many who came before him. His father, Ernesto Sr., a prominent cigar maker and senator, found himself a refugee in Miami without his business or his position after the Cuban Revolution. Ernesto Sr. soon re-established himself as a master cigar blender and maker in Little Havana and led his son Ernesto in the ways of becoming a master cigar maker. After Ernesto Sr.'s death in 1980, a not even then 30-year-old Ernesto Jr. took over his father's company. Years passed, some better than others, until Ernesto debuted La Gloria Cubana, the cigar that certainly marked the younger Ernesto's entrance into the cigar record books. After a buyout in 1999, Ernesto continued working with his first brand until 10 years later, when he began his own boutique brand, E.P. Carrillo. His own children now work with him, and each brand within the brand shows something new and interesting from this incredible master of cigars. Size and flavor, that's what Carrillo's Inch is all about. Released way back in 2012, Inch was in response to the cigar world's desire for larger ring gauge cigars, and boy did they get what they asked for. The Inch No. 64 Maduro is a 64 ring gauge cigar, yep, an inch in circumference. It's a beastly cigar, and if it wasn't so fantastic in flavor, the size would be a little bit of a turnoff. It's not my typical smoke, but sometimes it's fun to step out of the size comfort zone. Wrapped in Connecticut broadleaf wrapper, Inch Maduro is blended with Nicaraguan and Dominican filler and an Ecuadorian binder. It's a medium to strong cigar, but it's a big cigar and will require a solid 2 hours of your day or night. Carrillo mentions on his site that a bigger ring gauge means a bigger blend and therefore a little more flavor to work with, and he certainly achieved that. It's like smoking a catcher's mitt, and the leather doesn't give way until flavors and aromas of sweet tobacco, stewed fruit, and anisette enter the picture about halfway down. It's a fun perennial release, but take your time with it. Within the Perez Carrillo series, Allegiance debuted at the end of 2022 with 4 different vitolas. I like that the Perez Carrillo line gives each vitola its own unique name. In this case, they're called things like Confidant, Wingman, and Chaperone. This one is the Robusto-sized Sidekick. Blended by Ernesto per the usual, the Allegiance is produced in the Oliva factory in partnership between the 2 brands. The Allegiance cigar is absolutely delicious. There's a reason it's Cigar Aficionado's 5th rated cigar of 2023, following in the footsteps of its predecessors that landed on the list in years past. With an Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper and Nicaraguan binder and filler, the Allegiance is a medium to full-bodied cigar that seems to punch above its weight as you work your way down the cigar. It's got a ton of vanilla and garden herb notes up front, with a fantastic caramelized sugar and cedar flavor on the palate. As with all of the Perez Carrillo series, it's a lovely draw with smooth and consistent flavors throughout. Pledge was my introduction to Carrillo cigars, and at the time they were allocated, so I would buy as many as I could whenever I was in my local shop. Pledge Prequel is a Robusto-sized cigar that won the #1 spot as the top-rated cigar by Cigar Aficionado in 2020, and it's just a fantastic smoke. The Pledge Prequel grew into a number of new vitolas, ranging from its Gordo-sized Apogee to Toro, Lonsdale, and a tiny Robusto called Firecracker, amongst others. And other than the tiny Firecracker, all of the choices within the Pledge brand appear to be box pressed, which I love. It's a full flavored cigar that packs a ton of punch up front. It's got that fantastic sensation of burning leaves and licorice as you work your way down, not to mention a touch of aged scotch and baking spice on the palate and aroma. It's wrapped in a Connecticut wrapper with Nicaraguan filler and Ecuadorian binder, and while I love all of the cigars on this list for a variety of reasons, I have to say Pledge, and in particular the Pledge Prequel, is without a doubt my favorite. We've talked Pledge and we've talked Allegiance, so let's talk the Pledge of Allegiance. One of the newest offerings from Carrillo, Pledge of Allegiance is Carrillo's salute to America and the American dream. As a man who realized his dreams in the US, Ernesto Carrillo looked to create a cigar in the same vein as the Pledge and the Allegiance that would celebrate what one can achieve on American soil. Blended with an American Connecticut broadleaf wrapper, the Pledge of Allegiance uses two types of American fillers, including Nicaraguan and Dominican fillers, and an Ecuadorian binder. Much like the Pledge, it's a strong cigar and delivers a tremendous amount of pepper and leather aromas, as well as dark chocolate, sweet oak, and vanilla on the palate. It's beautifully wrapped in red, white, and blue, and is extremely limited. Only 1,776 boxes of 10 were made of this box press Toro, and each box was individually numbered for extra collectability. At $30 a pop, it's not everyone's box to buy, but it's definitely worth picking up one or two if you see them. It's a brilliant cigar. I wanted a cocktail that would pair wonderfully with any of these magnificent cigars, so for this episode we're turning yet again to another Cigar Bar original, the Merchant Marine. For the Merchant Marine, you'll need orange bitters, Campari, Amaro Nonino, Carpano Antica sweet vermouth, and rum. In a mixing glass, combine 3 dashes of orange bitters, equal parts of Campari, Amaro Nonino, and the sweet vermouth, and in this case, a ½ ounce of each, and 1.5 ounces of rum. I'm using Plantation 5-year. Stir well over ice, pour into a chilled Nick and Nora or martini glass, express lemon oil on top, and garnish with a maraschino cherry. And there you have it, the Merchant Marine. Strong enough to stand up to these Carrillo cigars, but elegant enough to have more than one. With that, thank you as always for visiting the Cigar Bar, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.